Chinese EVs are entering Canada, but the real story is not what the headlines say. Hi friends, welcome to Canadian Motor Vibe. My name is Malhar and let's dive in today. There has been a lot of discussion lately about Chinese EVs entering Canadian market. Some people think that they could completely take over the Canadian auto market, while some think that it is just overhyped. So what does this deal actually mean? Let's talk about it in today's video. And what does this really mean for the Canadian customers? Let's see that as well. So what is the Canada-China EV trade deal? Canada has decided to slash the tariffs from 100% to 6% on electric vehicles. Now hold on, that's not the entire story. This comes with strict regulations. There's an import cap of 49,000 vehicles, and most importantly, 50% of these vehicles should be below 35,000. Now this tells us something very clearly. This deal is not about flooding the Canadian market with Chinese EVs. This is a clear focus on affordability. Now, will this deal completely wipe out the American and the Canadian EVs? The short answer is no. Why? EVs in Canada are roughly 8% to 15% depending upon the province and the year. And Canada sells roughly 300,000 electric vehicles in a year. A cap of 49,000 is a far less number for a Canadian market for it to overcome and flood the market completely with their EVs. So no, that's not gonna happen with these numbers specifically. And on top of that, brand trust and loyalty matters a lot in Canadian market. There is a lot of emphasis on the locally made vehicles and locally made goods in Canada. So no, they won't flush out the Canadian EVs. On top of that, what this deal would do is it would fill a major gap of affordability. A lot of customers in Canada are looking for affordable EVs for their daily commute. Now this deal has the potential to help these customers. So will this deal increase the market share of EVs in Canada? Yes, it would. But this would happen gradually, not dramatically, or certainly not overnight. Why? This deal has the potential to increase the affordability of the electric vehicles. So the choice for the customers would improve. However, the market cap is very low and the charging infrastructure is not that developed. It is expanding, it is improving, but yes, it's not yet very much improved. Also, consumers are still a little skeptical about the electric vehicle adoption, so that might also play a key role in resistance to this. So why are the big automakers still focused on gasoline and hybrid vehicles? Well, this is because they understand the long-term effects that EV would have. They understand that EVs might not have that great of a resale value. The issue of EVs being reliable in the cold weather conditions is also true. So hybrids would be like a bridge to the EVs. So that is why there are more investments into gasoline and hybrid vehicles rather than going completely all electric. Let's talk about safety and sustainability of these Chinese EVs. Now there's a lot of skepticism here, but the truth is really more balanced than a lot of chaos. Why? Because Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers are investing heavily into battery safety, battery innovation, and thermal stability. This means that their EV products would be good. They would be far more stable, they would be far more balanced. Also, as far as unsafe vehicles goes, even with the import regulations being eased, there are still safety norms. So unsafe vehicles or unsafe EVs won't be allowed on the Canadian roads in the first place. As far as stability goes, this is a thing we should be watching within the first few years of adoption. This is something that needs to be more evaluated and cannot be predicted accurately as of now. Talk about reliability. There is absolutely no doubt that Japanese vehicles are still the best when it comes to reliability. But when we check at the American counterparts, there have been issues with build quality, there have been issues with software quality, and also initial adoption of these electric vehicles and earlier issues that comes with an electric vehicle with a lot of American vehicles. Now this has certainly opened a lot of room for competitors, including these Chinese EVs. Now, so reliability would be something that we would be observing in the near future, and if these cars prove to be reliable, then the Canadians would have discovered a very good option for themselves. So, what about the data security and privacy concerns? Yes, this is still a big challenge, especially with the Chinese electric vehicles. So, electric vehicles collect a lot of data in terms of location tracking, in terms of camera and sensor data, and also in terms of driving habits. Chinese electric vehicles and the Chinese EV manufacturers might be expecting a lot more scrutiny than the American counterparts. But again, this is like a wait and watch. Because of the differences in between the data governance and privacy laws, Chinese EVs might be faced with extra scrutiny and extra regulations over the time. Now, this will be like a major deciding factors on adoption in Canada. So, what happens next? Nothing about the Canada China EV trade deal is like completely final yet. So, Canada government would be reviewing this deal within the next 3 years based on market adoption, global trade dynamics, and the consumer adoption as well. So, yeah, this conversation should not be about fear. This conversation is clearly about affordability, and the ultimate winner here might be the Canadian customer. What are your thoughts on the Canada China EV trade deal? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this breakdown, please do hit the subscribe button and share it with your friends. This helps the channel to grow.